Hello everyone and welcome back to Utopia. Today I am interviewing Mahdi from AiWWelt. Mahdi is a resident in surgery in Germany and he also has a YouTube channel which is very cool. He has a lot of videos about surgeons, life in Germany as a doctor and many other interesting topics. And we talked today for about an hour, which wasn't planned to be that way, but Mahdi turns out to be a very interesting guy, and we touch a lot of topics which you may find very interesting, such as learning German, coming to Germany from foreign countries, especially not EU countries, and what is there to be expected from the cultural and from a technical point of view. I really hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed a lot talking to him, and yeah, have fun. All right. So Mahdi, we spoke a little bit the other day. Thank you for talking to me today. Yeah, you're a medical doctor in Germany. I believe you're a surgeon. We haven't talked much together before we made this video. We don't really know each other much. And I suppose we will be getting to know each other during this conversation. First of all, thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
So basically, I had a problem with my channel, in which I believe you're going to be helping me a lot, which was that I worked for a short time in Germany, and later on I moved to Switzerland. And the experience I have working is basically in anesthesia and intensive care unit. And some people ask me to explain how is life as a surgeon. Do you get to operate a lot or a little? How long does it take till you get to do stuff? And 100 other questions which I really couldn't answer. And I believe you're going to be a great help helping everyone in solving some questions that might be there.
I certainly hope so. Thank you. Thanks that I'm being here, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you did in your channel helping people. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you also have a lot of videos in your channel. I saw almost like weekly uploads with actually a lot of stuff which is already, many of the questions that I may have for you today may already be answered in your channel. May you have answered by yourself. That could be the case.
Yeah, but I think with time, every one of us has a new perspective. Mm. And maybe some answers are changed, some stay the same, but the person changes with the time and their perspective too. And maybe I have a new perspective today. Okay,
so let's go through it. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? Where did your journey begin with Germany and medicine?
Okay, so hello my friends, my name is Mahdi, and I came originally from Iraq. That's where I studied medicine from 2006 to 2012. I started working in Iraq, and my dream was cardiac surgery, and I was in cardiac surgery in Iraq. My first 2 years I did many things, and I ended up in cardiac surgery, and I got accepted in cardiothoracic boards in Iraq, but I didn't want to stay there. That's why I left Iraq 2015, and I came to Germany looking for training in cardiac surgery. That was the original plan. Yes, and I started working 2016, and the first 3 years I did we call it general and visceral surgery here. So I did general and visceral surgery, and I got to know, and I did also orthopedics and yes, I did orthopedics, and I got to know vascular surgery, and I liked vascular surgery. That's something I didn't know before, and so that I decided that I don't want to do cardiac surgery anymore. I want to do vascular surgery, and that's why I changed starting 2020 into vascular surgery, one of the biggest vascular centers in Germany, and that's where I'm right now.
Do you still like vascular surgery?
I don't want to change the whole subject of the interview here today, but I love vascular surgery. But I just made a huge decision in my career, and I think it's not the theme of this interview.
Yeah,
so
no,
I love vascular surgery. I'm not going to be doing it for a while, and then next time. But it's not because I don't like it. It's because I have other things to do. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about it in the end.
Okay. Right. So you decided you wanted to come to Germany to work here, but I assume you didn't speak German from the beginning.
No.
So you had to learn it from zero.
Yes.
Did you decide to come to Germany during your studies or after graduating?
No, after graduating. And I graduated, I worked about 2.5 years as a doctor, and then I decided that I want to come to Germany, I want to go to Germany. And that's why I had like zero knowledge of Germany, of German and Germany. I didn't like really know where is Germany like I knew that it's a country in Europe, but where exactly, and nothing, like absolutely nothing, because the focus of my life, of my young life, was always America.
Okay.
And I was in America. 2009, I got to study in Colorado State University for a semester, and I've never thought about Germany in my life. It was always the US. Yeah, but it changed.
And I suppose it changed because the requirements to get in America are even tougher than to come to Germany?
Yes, and because one very important thing, I think, to everyone who wants to do surgery will understand that. Because people who want to do surgery, they don't make up their minds very late. Most of them are like me. They know like really early. They are the first ones in med school who say, we want to do surgery. These are like the crazy ones. And to tell them, yeah, it's okay, come to America, but you'll never be a surgeon. It's like, it was no-go for me. No. There is no other thing for me.
Yeah, I believe that in America, there's a clear priority for those Americans who studied in America, and then foreigners who studied in America, and then Americans who studied in foreign countries, and then at the very end, at the tail, is the foreigners who studied in a foreign country. They will always get the worst positions, and we just have to settle with whatever is left, right?
Yes, it's almost always internal medicine or family medicine, and for me that was not an option. For me, nothing other than back at that time, 2015, when I decided to come to Germany, nothing other than cardiac surgery was an option. Like nothing, absolutely nothing. You couldn't talk to me about anything else. I wouldn't break out the conversation. If you told me like, think about something else, why don't do some orthopedics, why don't do some, I would have told you, I'm not interested in this conversation. I'm sorry, let's keep I don't want to hear you. So so Germany was an option to me when I heard that you can get into cardiac surgery in Germany, and I was like, okay, now we're talking. I want to hear a little bit more. And that's why till today Germany is still a very good option for people who really know what they want to do.
Okay. But before coming to Germany, I suppose did you research any other countries? I suppose you checked all over Europe, and I suppose you checked Canada, Australia, and got to the conclusion that Germany is just the easiest way to get to the position that you want.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it was for me the only way.
Yeah.
There was no other country where you can get to cardiac surgery. Nothing. Like I've gone through everything. I've gone through no other country with a respectable medical system, like the UK, like Australia, Canada, US, some other European country I looked into too, like Austria or Switzerland or Norway. It's not easy to get into cardiac surgery.
No, it's
like
not.
Even if you got like through everything, it's not easy. Germany is, or was, I think it still is, the only country where you can get in cardiac surgery. This has its reasons, now I know, but back at that time I didn't know, and I didn't care, honestly. Back at that time, like a young doctor, just graduated from college, I wanted to do cardiac surgery. And I wanted to do cardiac surgery in a country where medicine is advanced and not like in my country, in Iraq.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. There was no other option for me. I've looked into all of the options. There was no other option. Because for me, I would like to repeat it. For me, the reason was I wanted cardiac surgery. I didn't want anything else. I didn't come for the money. I didn't come for the beautiful Alps of Germany. I didn't come for the Autobahn, nothing else. I came for the cardiac surgery. And here, I had the chance to get into cardiac surgery, so I came. That was like, it was a clear shot for me.
Okay. So you make the decision around 2020, right? You make the decision to come to Germany?
2015.
Okay, 2015. You make the decision to come to Germany. How do you do it?
That's a funny story. That's a funny story. So I came to Germany in 2015 as a refugee.
Okay.
I came with a boat through the Mediterranean, and then I walked the whole Balkan road, and then I came to Germany. I arrived in Germany on the 1st of November 2015 with the thousands of refugees who arrived there.
Wow.
That's the way I made it. I didn't, back at that time, I had no, there was so little known about Germany in 2015. I knew only two people, two doctors who were there. And I didn't know any other way to come to Germany. Like later, after a couple of years, I understood like there are some institutes and some stuff, but for me at that time, there was no other road. And so I took that road.
Okay. So you're in Germany in 2015, but you don't speak any German yet. And maybe as a refugee, there was some sort of insertion program where they teach you the whole German?
Yeah, it was a funny time, 2015.
No,
yeah, it's so actually we got really lucky. So my wife and I came together. She's a doctor too. We came together, and we arrived. And the first months we lived in a basketball yard of a primary school, and we got really lucky because the people there, they got to know us, and they saw that we are doctors, and they got us into this German course. But this German course was so primitive. Like other people who were with us, some people couldn't read and write, so they had to start teaching them letters. And so this was like an absolute no-go for us. Like no way. And the system like that they had, it took 2 years for you to get to the C1 level. And for me, that was no. It's not going to take 2 years. I thought back at that time, it's going to take me 1 year. And so we started, my wife and I, we started to learn on our own. At the beginning, we learned at the library in the city where we live. and then we ordered books online and learned at home. And so most of the language we learned it at home. We got a little bit of help here and there with writing, because that was a big problem, but for most of it we did learn it at home, self-learned.
Wow, that's impressive.
Thank you.
That really is impressive. Now the rest of us have no excuses. Now there's no excuses left. Okay. And how long did it take approximately till you could communicate? I would say B2 level, so that you could actually apply for recognition of your degree and all of that stuff.
I did pass the B2 exam 6 months after I arrived in Germany.
Okay. Wow.
I arrived on the 1st of November and I did my exam in July. And I passed. I thought at that time, let's do the exam. Maybe we'll pass, probably not, but I'll learn something about the exam. How do they do it? And we passed, and we didn't believe it back at that time. Like, it was crazy, because like, how do you do it after 6 months without a teacher? Like, it's impossible, without a course. And back at that time, like, everybody was talking about courses and going to school, and you have to do this and you have to do that. And then like 2 crazy people come, like, and they learn in their home, and then they go do it and they pass the test. It was crazy. And we passed. And that made us even more crazier. Because I lived back at that time, I lived in Hessen. And in Hessen, there was 2 tests for the next step. The next step was like the Fachsprachprüfung, like the medical language. And in Hessen, they accepted 2 tests. One test is the FSP, the test that everybody knows. And the other test was TELC test. TELC B2 C1, medical language. They accepted this test. And this test is like, it's much easier to do. You don't wait you just apply. TELC is a company. It's just like Goethe. You say, I want to do the exam. When do you have, like? And they told me November, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. No idea how I'm gonna learn for it back at that time. I said, okay, let's do it. Like, what can happen? I don't get it. I don't pass. Okay, I learned. Second time I'll pass. Like, and we did it November, both of us, my wife and I. Like, some people tell me like, you're like really like language genie and something. Like, my wife is definitely not a language genie. She's just a normal doctor. And she did pass it too. It's like, we did the exam in November and we did pass, both of us. And we were like, really, we didn't believe it back then too. Like, after 1 year, no teacher, no course, no whatever whatsoever. But I have to say, I did the exam in November and I started working in October.
As a hospitant, I suppose.
Yes. It took some time. It took about 2 months until I got my license, my temporary license. But I was doing like the work that any other doctor would do. Nobody cared.
just not getting paid, right?
Yeah, but for me it was no problem. I was like really happy to work again.
Exactly. You're glad to be able to take those challenges.
And they wanted to pay me. The problem was with the whole procedures and papers and.
No, they're not allowed. They don't have a way to do it.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. You know, when people ask me what do I recommend about learning a language, I always go and say, just go to do some classes, because if you do it by yourself, you may get stuck. It's going to be easier if you go to classes. But hey, here we are.
That's what I say when people ask me, because you have to understand something. Like, I had a huge background about learning before I started learning. And not about learning German, but about learning. And the thing I did is, the things that I used in learning German are not the things that normal people use. Like one of the most important things that I use. I knew that if you want to, the fastest way to learn something is to find someone who learned it fast and copy them. And so what did I do? Just right at the beginning where I was learning, I looked for people who are polylinguistic. And then I watched and read and I was like crazy. I was crazy obsessed about it to learn how did they do it? How do they learn so many languages so fast? And I got the most important tips. And these are the tips that I give to people who ask me about how to speak better German or how to learn fast. These are the tips that I give. And I took those tips and I really applied them, and that's the way I did it. And just, if you don't know that, and it takes you a lot of time to get through things, and I'm crazy disciplined. That's not everyone is that. It's okay. Not everyone is like that, but I am. If I say I will do that, when I said we will do the B2 test, I applied right away, having no idea how I'm gonna get there. But I knew that I have a test, I'm gonna put the time and the energy. And we did it, every day. My wife and I, we woke up every day and we studied from 7 to 7, 12 hours every day. I found the best books, I asked the people who did it, how did they do it, and then I used their, and the thing that I always do also, I did that for my Kentnisseprüfung, for the license exam too. Normal people would read one book, I would read 4. And then I would, after reading 4 books, I would say, the 3 are not so good, I'll focus on this one. And then I read this one 2 times. And that's what I did. I did so many things, and so it's better to find a good course. It would save you a lot of time, a lot of energy. You don't have to work that hard. You can work smart. But I didn't have the money back at that time. Today, if I would do it again, having the money, I would book the best course and enjoy the process.
Yeah. Well, I guess that for the possibilities that were at your reach, you didn't have the money. So, given what you had, you did work both hard and smart. Because
Yes.
hard, just put 12 hours every day, and when it comes to smart, you just instead of figuring out by yourself what's the best way of learning, and in the process just hating the whole process, you saw how intelligent people or the profs really learn and just copy their methods. It is smart.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you put a few months of crazy German work, and you present yourself at the Fachspracheprüfung. And well, I suppose first you contacted whatever local office that has to approve your documents, sent all of your documents, which were translated to German, right? The whole thing.
Yes.
And eventually you get a termin, a meeting for the FSP, and you do the exam, and you pass it. Right. So from the moment you pass the exam, you're still not officially a German doctor because you come from a not EU land.
Yes.
Meaning you still need to do another exam, the Kentnisseprüfung. But you cannot do them right away. You get another appointment a couple of months in the future, I assume. And during these few months between the 2 exams, could you work already and get paid?
Yeah, gladly. So, yeah, this is also funny because I had one other thing that other people probably are not going to be having, but just to understand the time frame. So, I did my test, my medical language test in November, and then I got my temporary license in October, under one condition back at that time. The condition was that I am allowed to apply for the Kentnisseprüfung, to the medical exam test, only after 4 months of working, and after the chief of my department writes a paper saying that I'm a doctor and everything is okay. And that was because I didn't have all of the papers.
Okay.
Because back at that time, the Iraqi government stopped giving papers for doctors. Because so many doctors flee the country, they didn't want to give anything more. And so my wife and I, we didn't have all the papers. And so this office for Landesprüfungsamt in Hessen, they came in the middle, they met us in the middle, and they said, okay, you don't have all the papers, we'll let you work, and then in 4 months your chief has to say. And so after 4 months, my chief department said, yeah, he's a doctor, everything's good, you can let him start. And so I applied, like after 5 months. So I applied right away. That's the way. I think you guys, you just got it. You just got how did I think.
Yeah.
I always thought as fast as possible. If I don't get it, it's okay, I've learned something. And so as soon as I got the chance to apply, I applied right away. And from that time to the time that I got my appointment, so I applied in April 2017, and I got I got my appointment at the end of 2017, and I did my tests in the end of January, I think.
Okay.
And so it took about 8 months from the time of the application.
Yeah.
There is, but this depends on the state. Like some states have more exam centers. Hessen, where I was, had only one exam center in Marburg, and yeah. And you get the appointment 1 month before the. Or you get told 1 month before the appointment of the test, and that's what happened. And I took the test and I got through.
Okay, nice. All right. And during this period of 8 months, from the moment you apply for the Kentnisseprüfung till the moment you get to do the exam, as you said, you were working already. Were you getting paid like an Assistenzarzt?
Yeah, yes, I was paid normally. The only difference was that with the temporary permit, you're not allowed to do night duties or any duties alone.
Yeah.
So there has to be always someone there with a probation, and it doesn't work other way. You're not allowed to do it. And so I didn't do any night duties, and these night duties they're paid. And so if you do it, you get more payment. If you don't, you don't. And so I got the basic salary of an Assistenzarzt, of a resident, and it was not bad. It was good. But that was the only difference between me and the other guys who worked in my department.
Okay. And from the moment you started working, do you start right away in surgery?
Yes, I started in surgery.
And also in cardiac surgery?
Department. I started in a surgical department.
Okay. And, right. And how was it? What did you get to do at the beginning?
How was it? It's like this is I would say this is a personal experience. I was like really happy to work again because I loved my job, and sitting at home, not working, not dealing with patients, it was like the worst thing for me. So I was like really happy to see patients once again. But soon this happiness turned into frustration because I think by now, like everybody, your audience had understood that what type of doctor I am. Like I'm not the one who sleeps and let like everything flows. I'm like the one who like does the work and gets in the way. And so in cardiac surgery, before I came to Germany, and the first year, like the residents before me, they told me, you have no chance in getting into the operation room. Like you'll see the inside of the operation room first after 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Because like it's always that way. Like people tell you about their borders, what they did and what they couldn't do. And so I said, okay, I believe you. And what happened is I worked hard, like as always. I gave my best, and after a couple of months I was in surgery. After 6 months I started assisting in surgeries. After 1 year in cardiac surgery I did my surgeries, like the first surgeries. I stood and operated, and like an attending was assisting me after 1 year. And like this was like my level. This was like where I was for me before I came to Germany. And then I came to Germany. And then in Germany I started like in a small department in general surgery. They did like a lot of laparoscopic work, and like there was like not a lot for me to do. But the openings for the laparoscopic surgeries, they were like this big. And for the first 3 months I assisted in these surgeries, and they never allowed me. I will never forget this, because I was feeling so shitty on the inside, but I never said anything because I was like new, and I was happy to have a job.
Yeah.
On the one side, but on the other side I was thinking, what's with him, like my attending? It's so small. Why would he do it himself all the time? 3 months. I would never forget that. The first 3 months, I go to surgery, I assist, I give my best, and I never get anything. So I get out, and I'm frustrated, and I'm like, I keep doing it, and that was the way, like for the first 3 months, until I said something. I said like, may I please? Because I was like, I thought, I don't know, you have to say something. It's like, and yeah.
Well, if you don't say anything, you may stay like that for another 3 months, right? And another 6 months.
Probably.
You would never know.
Yeah, because like, and looking like backwards, I knew what I could, but they didn't know. How would they know? And in Germany, as a resident, the residents have different levels, and the attendings, they have no idea. They have no idea what you can, and so you have to ask, you have to show what you can sometimes to get more surgical work. That's on the one side, and on the other side, it's definitely, the system in Germany is definitely not a teaching system. It's not built to teach surgeons. It's not built to make good surgeons. Never. It's only built to operate on as many patients as possible, to maximize profits. That's the plain fact of it. That's the way it is. And so the attendings also, they had no experience in teaching, because they've never been taught. They learned like depending on themselves, and they think that you have to learn depending on yourself. It's like it's really rare to meet attendings who are teaching oriented. That's the fact. That's the way it is.
Were you working in a big hospital?
Back at that time, I was working in a small hospital.
Okay.
Now I'm working in a big hospital. It's worse.
So eventually you got tired and you decided to, it's worse.
Because in a big hospital there are many more people. You have like
Yeah.
in the small hospital I had to, there were, like the whole team was like 4 doctors, I think, 4 surgeons, 4 surgical residents. And so it didn't take a lot of time to see that I was the best of them. Because I was like there the whole time. On
They can see you
weekends.
the whole time.
They can see me the whole time. I know everything. I know everyone. I know everything. I have answer for everything. The only thing that I cannot is operating. And so they have to give you. It's like they want to keep you. They want to keep you happy. They want to keep you there. And but in a big hospital, like where I work right now, you have 12 residents. You are not the only brilliant one. There are ones who are more brilliant. There are ones who are better, who know more, there's always someone.
And even if you were the most brilliant one, you still have 7, 8 attending doctors, and that means that each one of them needs to get to know you. Each one of them needs to realize that you are brilliant,
Right.
and that means that you need to show them that you are doing your job correctly, like 10 times in a row to each one of them.
Yes.
So you need your 100 chances before they actually all agree that you know your shit.
Yes.
And then you get your chances. So
Yes,
it takes
yes.
also months anyway.
Yes, it takes a lot of time.
Okay. So you changed eventually, and now you're in vascular surgery.
Yeah.
And basically, okay. Do you like standing on your feet for 5 hours in a row?
I didn't understand it. Could you repeat the question, please?
Do you like standing on your feet for like 5 hours in a row?
I don't think, you see, I like going to extremes. Last year, I did this camping night with a friend of mine, where we slept. I almost lost my toes because it was so cold. And the night after, the day after that, I was like, I slept in my bed, and I was like so appreciating for this time that I had a warm bed. And so I like going to extremes. Do I like to do it every day? No. But I like going to the extreme, trying to save someone. But I do think that in vascular surgery, definitely here in Germany with the German system, this took me also beyond my limits, because there's something I think it's important for your audience to understand. You get only paid if you operate. And so many patients in Germany are really old, like really old. Like we have patients that are older than 90 years old. We had patients that are more than 100 years old. And so like your medical doctor mind says, leave them. It's all good. It's okay when they die. It's not a problem anymore. That's like your sane brain. And then there's someone who just wants to operate everything, because if you operate them, then you're gonna get a little bit more money for your hospital. And every hospital in Germany, obviously, except maybe for university hospitals, but all other hospitals are like standing under this huge financial pressure. Because there's this policy who wants to close as many hospitals as possible, because there are so many hospitals in Germany, and so it's like a race. Every hospital wants to do as much as possible, and every surgical department wants to operate as much as possible. And sometimes it's like it's this old demented lady who is like 69 years old, and then in vascular surgery the decision is clear, is 100% clear. She goes
You mean
to
96,
the
right?
operation room one time. Like, this is clear. You'll find it in every book. Such a woman who is immobile, who is dement, and has like an PAD with a wound or gangrene or something like that. You don't revascularize those patients. They go to the operation room for one time, and this one time is amputation, nothing more. But what do you see here? You see them go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then die in the ward. Because the bypass didn't work. Like, what is this? Why? But it is the way it is.
For those who don't know, who are not familiarized with the German healthcare system, it is a semi-private system in which there are like 100 different companies that offer you healthcare, all of them under some general rules. And the hospitals have no deals with these companies. The hospitals provide the service. So you go to a hospital having an insurance, you get a service, and the hospital gets money from your health insurance. And each thing you do as a hospital has a number. For example, if I put a bandage, it costs 3 euros, for example, to the hospital, but the insurance has to pay the hospital 8. Do you have to operate this person? If you have a reasonable reason to operate this person, if you can find a logical reason to operate this person, then you operate this person, and then the health insurance will have to pay you for what you did. So even though the best interest for the patient may sometimes be to leave that patient in peace, the hospital finds other financial reasons and may milk the cow a bit longer.
Yes.
Right?
True. Sad, but true.
I'll give you an example, and this was very frustrating for me. Working in the intensive care unit, there was this intubated patients that you were trying to do what you call weaning.
Yeah.
You're slowly trying to make them wake up and start breathing by themselves, and they are being ventilated with the machine, and you want eventually them to ventilate them less so that they start by themselves and they combine each other and slowly they breathe by themselves.
Yeah.
And in this process, there's a moment where they almost can breathe by themselves, but they need this little bit of help, just a little bit of help. But according to the law, at least the law of these healthcare insurances, if you ventilate the patient with such a little pressure, it is not considered a ventilation, and they will not pay for that. And so you have a period of maybe 3-4 days in which you are ventilating your patient in an intensive care unit, which is very expensive for a hospital, and you're not getting paid for that. So you have to choose to whether give them more help than what they need, which won't help them, and they will never get to breathe by themselves properly, or give them no help whatsoever and hope that they come out of it just fine and that you don't have to re-intubate them and the whole thing. Very detrimental for the patients, but is the way to make money.
Yeah. But this is I obviously don't like focusing on negative sides of things, because I do think that everything has a negative and a positive side, and we talked about the negative side. There's one really wonderful positive side to the system, and that is in Germany. And I've never thought about it, but many people who are coming from South America told me about it, and it's true. Is that in this system that pays everything, you can treat also everyone.
Yeah.
And that's really amazing, because I came as a refugee. And if I needed like surgery or something back at that time, I would have been operated on. And somebody would have paid for it. I don't know who, but somebody would have paid for it. And I see it like today, like with the people coming from Ukraine. We treated so many people. You can't treat like everyone. And like homeless people or poor people, you can treat everyone in this system. This is also, I think it's also positive side.
Yeah, there's a positive argument. There's another argument on top of that is, if there's money to be made, like you said, if there's money to be made as well for a hospital, they will treat you because someone will pay eventually for it.
Yes.
And see, for example, the system of other countries, South America, or actually any non-European country, if there is no money involved, if no one is winning money, then there's no incentive really to operate faster or more, and then you have waiting lines. And if you have waiting lines, someone may die waiting for the operation they needed.
Yes.
For example, I come from Spain.
Yes.
The Spanish system is very simple. You have one pot with money. It's everyone's pot with money, and from that pot with money you treat the people, and everyone pays with their taxes. What means that the more you operate, the less money you have to keep operating. And so as long as the pot still has money, you can keep going. But you cannot go too fast, because then you don't have any more money.
Wow.
And of course there are waiting lines.
Interesting.
So it's sad to think about it that way, but if there was any money to be made, maybe it would be better. But since the hospitals belong to the government and to the people, then every money you spend treating is every money you don't have to treat the next person. Which for a country without a lot of money is a problem, of course.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. No, I do think that we spend a lot of time talking about the negative sides. I do think, like, I still get this question very often, because it's very important to me that people know the truth here, because I have a feeling that I didn't know the truth here. It would have not changed my mind about it. I would have still came here, but not having a false idea, because I came to Germany thinking it's like the US. I was waiting for the wet labs and for the residents and for the tours and for the learnings and for the lectures, and nothing came. There was no wet lab. Nobody taught us anything. There was no lectures. There were no grand tours where we learned. There was nothing. And I was like, years went by, and I was like really sad about it. But I don't think you have to be sad. Either you are coming here because you know why you're coming here, and then you start thinking smart from the beginning. This is the way it is. I need to start working on myself. Like, what you need to know is, if you come to Germany, you're gonna need to organize your training by yourself. You're gonna have to organize your years, you're gonna have to look for the good hospitals, you're gonna have to look for the good courses. There is everything here. You get paid good, but you have to do it yourself.
They say one of the main difference between Germany and Switzerland when it comes to learning as a resident is that in Germany they normally say that you are thrown in cold water. You're giving a kick on your ass, you fall in cold water, and you have to learn how to swim. Which I don't find bad, because like you said, we focus too much on the negatives. Maybe there is something positive to get from it, because you really get good at what you do. You have no choice. You have to. Switzerland, on the other side, you are like, they check everything you do, and everything you do has to be approved, and you don't really get to work alone by yourself and be responsible of your choices. You don't get to do that. There's positives and negatives, of course. Positives being that no matter what happens, it's never your fault. Someone agreed to it. And you will never make a terrible mistake, and you will actually always have someone there to teach you. Negatives is that since you always have a let's say help from behind, you may never get pushed to those limits that where you actually get strong as a doctor, where you actually say, I can do this, I got this.
Yes, but it's the same way in surgery in Germany. Like, you're never alone. In the at least
right.
and in your training time, you're never alone. There is always someone there, and most of the time, they are not good teachers. The people that are there, they're not good teachers. They're not there to push you. They're there for themselves, trying to get the job done. And maybe there's a chance that they let you do it, and maybe not. And more often I see more often that they don't, because they don't have time. They want to get done. It's not. I don't care. Today we don't have time for teaching. That's what you hear, like, most of the time.
And there's never time. That's right.
And there's never time, and the time goes by. And in my opinion, most of the surgeons in Germany are not good. They're really, like, they think they're good, but this is like drivers. Like, there's this like really hilarious thing about questionnaire in the German states, where they ask the people of each German state which are the best drivers, and they say, we are the best drivers. And I do think it's like really many surgeons think they are the best, but I've seen good surgeons. Germany is okay, more than okay. It's not more than okay, because like the system doesn't make you an amazing surgeon, it just makes you a safe surgeon. And in some of the times you're not even that. And I'll keep it that way. I don't want to say anything more.
Say no names. You don't want to get fired. You want to keep your job. Actually, I think I'm almost done with all of the questions. I had only a couple left. Maybe they're a bit cheesy. We will see.
That's okay. Go for it.
So, interesting question. Might be asked every now and then. What about discrimination at the workplace? From the patients, when you look at their eyes and you know that they don't want you to operate them or something like that, and from the side of your colleagues, both those who work next to you, like nurses and colleagues, and those who work above you, like your superiors.
So this may be like interesting, so, because I don't have the regular opinion about that.
What's the regular opinion?
The regular opinion is Germans are racist.
Okay.
That's the regular opinion. They help their people, yes, patients want German doctors, German patients want German doctors, German doctors help other German doctors get through, and that's the way it is. That's the thing that I keep hearing. People don't say it that way. I'm like really I'm a little bit German also, not right now, because I'm very direct and I'm saying it. But like people are complaining the whole time that they don't get treated the same way. I mean, foreigners. But I do think that many cultural differences are being interpreted the bad way. Because Germans are special. They are definitely not like the people of South Europe. They are definitely not like the people of North Africa. They're definitely not the Asians like the Asians, and not at all like Arabs. Like all of these places that I mentioned, these are like places that I visited or I know something from. These are soft cultures where you can get in very easily. Like I've been in Barcelona. I was like for a couple of days there, and I got to know more people in a couple of days there than I've known like in a whole year in Germany. Just a couple of days. Like I've been so many places. I was in some places in some people's homes. I got invited to many parties. Like only a couple of days. And in Germany, it takes like a lot of time. And I think many people just don't understand that. It's a cultural difference. Germans they think not the same way as these places, these people. And that's so. Coming back to the question, did I feel? I didn't feel a lot, because I've understood like these things. But did everything that happened for me was like really smooth and wonderful? No, I had like really hard situations with patients, with nurses, with doctors. But I always kept in mind that this is another culture. They do things other way. They're like really direct. They tell you all the way when they think that you made a mistake, or when they think you're doing something not their way. They don't care. It's always false if it's not my way. That's the way I got it here. And so they never tell you like, don't you think you can do it another way? It's always going to go like this. What's wrong with you? Are you an idiot? Nobody does it that way. And it's like for someone who comes like from another culture where nobody tells you that, like, are you an idiot? How could you do that? It's like really racist. It's like he's only talking to me that way because I'm not German. But if you're like, I've been in Germany since 2015. That's like, it's about to be 8 years, and it's the way they do it with German people too. They're not nice. They are really direct people. You get to see that in restaurants. Leave the hospital. Like leave the hospital all the way. You see that in restaurants. Most of the waiters are not nice. And you're asking yourself like, what's going on? This is a restaurant. They have to be nice to people. They're not. Yeah. And like in shops also. And please, like, if you think like I'm telling something that's totally untrue, please, like, tell everyone right now that it's not that way. But this has been my experience.
It's, you're right. I agree with you on most of it. I also don't like to go ahead and say they are just racist. I also in the beginning have wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be, but not because they are treating you badly. They are racist. It could also be that this person concretely just just a bad person, or this person concretely is just not nice. It's just not because I come from where I come from, or because that guy is black. Maybe this person treats everyone badly, including the Germans. I have seen it as well. So I also like to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think that makes it even more difficult, though, to answer this question, is that they may not always tell you directly something negative. And this is something very special about Germans. I see it here in Switzerland as well, even more here. They don't tell you directly, you suck. They may even smile and not tell you that you suck, and then tell behind you that you suck, and then create a weird vibe. And you may feel pushed away, but then again, not because you are necessarily a foreigner. They may do that to Germans as well.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say that racism doesn't exist. I am trying to say it exists. I don't know how many people. I didn't have much problem. I've been living in 2 states, in Hessen and in Rhineland-Pfalz. I cannot remember one problem with a patient or with a doctor or something, but there is a cultural difference that makes it easy for many people to rate things as racist. And I think many of them are not racist, they're just normal. But there are some racist people, like in every other country in the world. Some people are just like that. They're not nice.
I have to say, for those who are not nice and for those who are especially rough with you, I had the experience that after working over 1 year with them, if you were doing your job right, they actually stopped being so rough with you, and they give you also a chance.
Yes.
So you get to earn it. So it's not necessarily hate towards you. It's just a lot of space away from you, and you need to get closer slowly through hard work. But it's possible.
Yes, definitely. And there is a quote from Lincoln where he says, "Do I not?" How does it go? Do I not finish my enemies? No, do I not get rid of my enemies when I turn them into friends? And so I do think so too. Like if you keep like focused, you stay nice and you work hard, even the racist people are gonna like you. And maybe they're gonna try they're gonna see the world in a new light. So thank you for sharing that. Like, it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Yes.
And this may be the last one, maybe. Would you recommend coming to Germany to young new doctors who are thinking about it?
I really touched on that. This whole video was touching on that. It depends on your situation. Like, why are you coming to Germany? And if you think that you can find a better place where you get a better training as a doctor, then by all means go there. But I do know from my personal experience that some people coming from, I don't want to say poor countries, but countries that are not that like not the first world country. Like me, I came from Iraq. I didn't have a bank account back then as I came to Germany. And people coming from these countries, they don't have a lot of options. And if you have options, then by all means, go somewhere else where it makes you happy. But if you don't have a lot of options, and Germany is an option for you, then it is a good option. There are so many people, I've talked about it, that the training here is like really shitty. It is. But but there are so many people working on it right now. People who are working on making the training better for new doctors right now. There are programs for foreigners. There are programs for new residents. And I myself, I'm working on a program for young surgical residents to help them with the things where I did not get help, to get them through the troubles where I did not get through, or it was hard for me. And there are so many people that I know who are doing work here and there, and it's getting better. It takes time, but at the end of it, I think if you persevere here, it's like just like you said, because it's not an easy system, you get to be a better doctor if you like really want it. If you are not into this doctoring thing, then probably you're gonna give up, or probably maybe you'll change your way. But if you're like really deep in your heart a doctor, then you're gonna find a way, and I think that you'll grow a lot and you learn a lot and you get to be better, and the options are like really amazing, and the technology is here. Like you are in the middle of Europe. This is really amazing. There are some amazing chances here for amazing minds who want to create something in this world and do something. And so that's what I think.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And by the way, I can't believe I haven't mentioned it until now. You have your own YouTube channel where you make exactly these educational videos from a technical point of view, but also from, like you said, some challenges that might come with life as a doctor itself. And I have to say I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen many, and they're very cool. They're very cool.
Thank you.
And I totally recommend them for anyone who just wants to know how it looks like and what someone who has been through it thinks about it. Then it's a perfect place to be. Perfect channel to check out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. I think that's going to be everything for today, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for talking to me. It's been great, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I had fun too.
I'm happy with this.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So maybe we'll get to do it another time in the future. And
yeah, and maybe you'll tell us a little bit about Switzerland and what got you over there. I would be happy to host you on my channel, like next time.
We'll leave that for part 2.
Yes.
Soon in theaters. All right.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.